What if the reason you still do not have what you want is not bad luck, bad timing, or a lack of talent, but the quiet panic underneath your ambition? What if the world you are trying so hard to impress was never going to reward desperation in the first place? And what if the thing that keeps delaying your peace is not the goal itself, but the way modern life trains you to chase, perform, beg, and fracture yourself in public while calling it drive? Most people never hear that said out loud. They are told to hustle harder, visualize harder, network harder, post harder, prove harder. They are told that if they want something badly enough, they should grip it tighter. But that is often where the damage begins. Because the tighter you grip, the more anxious you become. The more anxious you become, the more you distort your judgment. And the more distorted your judgment becomes, the more likely you are to sabotage the very future you claim to want. In this video, we are going to walk through 10 Stoic rules that can completely change the way you pursue success, love, peace, respect, and personal power. Not by turning you cold. Not by making you passive. But by teaching you how to want deeply without becoming mentally owned by what you want. And stay with me, because toward the end there is one rule almost nobody practices consistently, the rule that separates people who merely chase outcomes from people who become unshakable while outcomes are still uncertain. Welcome to Stoic Craft. This is where we take ancient wisdom, strip away the fake polish of modern self-help, and bring it back to real life, the late-night doubts, the silent disappointments, the performance pressure, the social masks, the moments when you smile in public and feel exhausted in private. If you have been trying to build a better life without losing yourself in the process, this conversation is for you. Today we are talking about manifestation, but not in the shallow way the culture often sells it. Not in the fantasy that life bends just because you want something intensely enough. Stoicism offers a deeper and more honest view. You do not manifest a better life by becoming obsessed with outcomes. You move closer to what matters by mastering your inner world, your reactions, your pace, your standards, and your relationship with uncertainty. That matters now more than ever because we are living in a time that constantly tempts people into emotional dependence. Dependence on validation. Dependence on instant progress. Dependence on attention. Dependence on whether someone texts back, whether a deal closes this week, whether the algorithm approves of your effort, whether other people recognize your value before you have fully recognized it yourself. Modern society is full of polished surfaces and hidden insecurity. Machiavelli would have understood that immediately. He knew people perform, conceal, flatter, compete, posture, and protect appearances. The Stoics understood something equally important. If your peace depends on those surfaces, you will be controlled by them. So here is what we are going to do. We will move through 10 rules. Each one is practical. Each one speaks to a real tension in modern life. And each one is designed to help you stop chasing from fear and start moving from strength. We will talk about attachment, timing, emotional control, obstacles, approval, pressure, gratitude, and the discipline of becoming the kind of person who can receive what they seek without being destroyed by the pursuit of it. This is not a lecture. Think of it more like a walk with someone who understands what it feels like to carry invisible pressure for a long time. Someone who knows what it is like to want your life to change, to be tired of waiting, and to still have enough honesty left to ask a harder question: what inside me needs to become steadier before the outside can feel different? Let's begin where all meaningful change begins. Rule 1: Desire without attachment. There is nothing wrong with wanting more from life. Wanting to build something meaningful. Wanting financial relief. Wanting a stronger body, a calmer mind, a loyal relationship, a second chance, a door to open, a season of peace after years of strain. Desire is not the enemy. The problem begins when desire quietly becomes emotional dependency. That shift is subtle, which is why so many people miss it. At first, you simply want something. Then the mind adds a condition. I need this to happen. I need this person to choose me. I need this job to work out. I need this version of the future because I have already attached my emotional survival to it. That is the moment desire stops being fuel and starts becoming a leash. You can feel it in ordinary life. You check your phone too often. You reread messages. You overanalyze silence. You keep refreshing numbers, waiting for proof that your effort is finally paying off. You tell yourself you are just being committed, but what is really happening is more painful than that. Your peace has moved outside of you. It is now sitting in an outcome you do not fully control. The Stoics warned against this not because they were against ambition, but because they understood the cost of handing your inner stability over to external events. Marcus Aurelius did not teach people to stop caring. He taught them to care in a way that did not corrupt the soul. Epictetus made a sharp distinction between what belongs to us and what does not. Our choices, our discipline, our character, our response, those belong to us. Timing, other people's minds, public recognition, perfect outcomes, those do not. And this is where the modern world becomes dangerous. It keeps encouraging attachment while calling it passion. It tells you that if you are not consumed, you are not serious. It rewards people for looking obsessed, hungry, relentless. But beneath that performance is often fear. Fear of not becoming enough. Fear of being unseen. Fear of losing status. Fear of being left behind in a world that treats calm people like they are not trying hard enough. Machiavelli would say society often respects appearances before substance. Stoicism answers with something stronger: do not let appearances train your nervous system. Do not let the theater of urgency infect the quality of your mind. The calm person is not always less ambitious. Sometimes they are simply harder to manipulate. When you desire without attachment, something powerful happens. You work hard, but you do not beg emotionally. You move with intention, but you do not collapse when something slows down. You can want the opportunity and still sleep at night. You can love a person and still keep your dignity. You can chase a goal and still remain human while chasing it. That kind of energy changes the way you show up. You become less frantic, which makes you more perceptive. Less needy, which makes your decisions cleaner. Less likely to force what should be approached with patience. Less likely to humiliate yourself in the name of urgency. That matters. Some of the worst mistakes people make do not come from lack of intelligence. They come from emotional overinvestment. Think about how many times people speak too soon, chase too hard, say yes too quickly, ignore warning signs, or settle for less simply because attachment made them weak. They did not lack value. They lacked space between desire and self-abandonment. So let this first rule settle deeply: want what you want, but do not hand your nervous system over to it. Do not wrap your worth around it. Hold the goal in your hands, not around your throat. Because the moment you no longer need the outcome in order to feel whole, you finally become strong enough to pursue it well. Rule 2: return to the present moment. A surprising amount of suffering comes from living in places where your power does not exist. The past. The future. The fantasy conversation. The imagined disaster. The replayed regret. The mind is rarely content to stay where life is actually happening. It drifts backward into what should have been and forward into what might go wrong. And while it drifts, the present is neglected. That neglect looks ordinary at first. You are driving home, but mentally arguing with someone from 2 days ago. You are sitting with your family, but part of you is trapped in next month's bills. You are working on one task, but your mind is burning energy on 10 future scenarios that have not happened. You tell yourself you are preparing, but much of the time you are just rehearsing anxiety. The Stoics kept returning to the present because they knew it is the only place where discipline can be practiced. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to stay with the task at hand, the hour at hand, the duty in front of him. Not the entire weight of life at once. Just what is here. What can be done now. What kind of person he chooses to be in this moment. That sounds simple until you realize how much of modern life is built to destroy this skill. Notifications. Outrage cycles. Comparison loops. The pressure to always be planning the next move. You are not just asked to live your life anymore. You are asked to monitor it, brand it, optimize it, anticipate threats, and perform progress in real time. No wonder so many people feel mentally fragmented. Their attention has been turned into a public battlefield. There is also a darker social layer here. In a performative culture, being present can feel almost rebellious. Because when you return to the present, you stop being dragged around so easily by what other people are displaying. You stop living as a reaction to their highlight reel, their curated confidence, their polished updates, their strategic image. You notice how much of the social world is theater. And once you see that clearly, you become less vulnerable to it. But this rule is not just philosophical. It is deeply practical. When you come back to the present, you think better. You hear people more clearly. You respond rather than react. You stop multiplying one real problem into 10 imaginary ones. You stop punishing yourself in advance. You become more available to life, which means you become more effective inside it. I have seen how this changes ordinary days. Someone wakes up already tense because they are carrying next week before breakfast. They read one email and feel their whole body tighten. They scroll headlines and start absorbing the world's panic before they have even checked in with their own mind. By 9 a.m., they are exhausted, and nothing major has even happened. What drained them was not reality. It was mental overextension. The Stoic correction is not denial. It is containment. This task. This breath. This conversation. This next honest step. That is where agency lives. Not in trying to control the entire map of your future before noon. Not in reliving yesterday until it poisons today. And yes, planning matters. Reflection matters. But they must serve the present, not replace it. The goal is not to become careless. The goal is to stop abandoning the only moment in which your character can actually do its work. So ask yourself, where has your mind been living lately? In regret? In fear? In performance? In imaginary outcomes? Bring it back. Not because the future does not matter, but because your future is built by the quality of your present attention. If your mind is always somewhere else, your life will keep feeling slightly out of reach, even while you are inside it. Rule 3. Turn obstacles into advantage. One of the hardest truths to accept is that life rarely unfolds in the clean line you had in mind. Plans stall. People disappoint. Money gets tight. Your confidence gets tested at the exact moment you thought you were finally gaining momentum. And when that happens, most people immediately ask the wrong question. Why is this happening to me? The Stoics ask a more useful one. What can this become in me? That shift changes everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote one of the most durable lines in Stoic philosophy, What stands in the way becomes the way. That does not mean every hardship is pleasant. It does not mean every loss is secretly wonderful. It means the obstacle itself can become material for strength, clarity, patience, discipline, humility, or strategic redirection if you stop treating it only as an insult. Modern culture has made people deeply uncomfortable with resistance. We are trained to treat delay as failure, inconvenience as injustice, and friction as proof we should quit or panic. But in real life, almost everything meaningful includes resistance. Strong relationships, financial repair, career transitions, healing after betrayal, rebuilding your health, learning to trust yourself again. None of that happens in a straight line. And there is a social reason many people misread hardship. They are surrounded by surfaces that make struggle look like something only they are experiencing. Everyone else appears composed, ahead, certain, successful. That illusion is powerful. Machiavelli understood that people conceal weakness when status is at stake. The social world is full of edited confidence. Stoicism tells you not to be fooled by it. Hardship is not a private sign that you are failing. It is the shared condition of being human. The mature question is not whether obstacles will appear. They will. The question is whether you will let them turn you childish, bitter, and reactive, or whether you will let them refine you. Think about a season when life would not move at the speed you wanted. Maybe you were passed over professionally. Maybe your relationship fell apart while you were still trying to keep it together. Maybe you were doing everything you knew how to do and still felt stuck. There is a version of that story where you become more resentful, more impulsive, more hungry for shortcuts. But there is another version, and it is quieter. You become more observant, more strategic, less gullible, more serious about your standards, more honest about what you can no longer afford to ignore. That is what it means to turn the obstacle into an advantage. Not through forced positivity, through disciplined interpretation. Sometimes the obstacle exposes your weak habits. Sometimes it shows you who was never really with you. Sometimes it strips away fantasy and leaves you with something better than fantasy, clarity. Pain has a ruthless way of revealing structure. Where you were dependent. Where you were pretending. Where you were overestimating someone. Where you were underestimating yourself. This is especially powerful in a society built on appearances. A setback can rescue you from illusion. Losing a false opportunity can save you from a false future. Being rejected by the wrong room can redirect you toward a life that fits your actual values. Being slowed down can teach you the patience you would have needed later anyway. You do not need to enjoy the obstacle. You do need to use it. Use it to sharpen your judgment. Use it to build emotional endurance. Use it to learn which part of you still panics when the script changes. Use it to train yourself not to break every time life stops cooperating with your preferences. Because if you learn this rule well, you become very difficult to defeat. Not because nothing hurts you, but because even what hurts you becomes usable. And that changes the whole texture of your ambition. Now life is no longer a fragile agreement that must go your way. It becomes a training ground where even resistance can serve your growth. Rule 4. Reclaim your inner authority. Many people look functional from the outside while living with a hidden vacancy inside. They go to work. They answer messages. They keep commitments. They sound fine. But internally, they are overexposed to other people's opinions. One critical tone can disturb them for hours. One slight can reroute their mood. One rejection can make them question their whole worth. That is not weakness in the moral sense. It is what happens when inner authority has been outsourced. The Stoics wanted to build a person who did not collapse under the weather of other minds. Not someone arrogant. Not someone unreachable. Someone internally governed. This matters because the social world is rarely neutral. People project. They test. They flatter when useful. They withdraw when threatened. They perform confidence they do not feel. They assign value based on trends, status, convenience, and insecurity. If you are too open to being defined by those movements, you will live in constant emotional negotiation. You will keep asking silent questions that never bring peace. Did they approve of me? Did I say the right thing? Why did their energy change? What does that mean about me? It is exhausting to live that way. And it is more common than people admit. Machiavelli saw clearly that public life is shaped by appearances, motives, and shifting loyalties. Stoicism does not deny that. It simply refuses to kneel before it. Inner authority means you stop treating every outside judgment as if it were a courtroom verdict. You evaluate feedback, yes. You learn, yes. But you do not surrender your identity to unstable witnesses. This becomes incredibly important in adult life, especially for people in their 30s, 40s, and beyond. By then, the wounds are usually more complex. You have been misunderstood before. Overlooked before. Disrespected before. Maybe you learned to become hyper-attuned because the world once felt unpredictable. Maybe part of you still scans rooms for danger in the form of disapproval. Maybe you became high-functioning, successful even, while still carrying a quiet fear of not measuring up. Stoicism offers something firm and gentle at the same time. Come back to your own court. Come back to your own standards. Ask a better question than whether everyone likes you. Ask whether your actions are aligned with your values. Ask whether your conduct is clean. Ask whether your motives are honest. Ask whether you are becoming someone you respect in private. Because when inner authority grows, you stop being so easy to destabilize. Someone ignores you, and you notice it without unraveling. Someone tries to provoke you, and you do not hand them your nervous system. Someone misjudges you, and you do not immediately rush into self-betrayal just to repair the image. That does not make you cold. It makes you anchored. I think many adults secretly long for this more than they realize. Not more success, at least not first. More steadiness. More self-possession. More freedom from the exhausting emotional taxes of public life. They want to walk into a room without silently auditioning for safety. They want to speak without over-explaining. They want to make decisions without needing constant reassurance. Inner authority is built in small moments. Keeping your word to yourself. Not chasing closure from people committed to confusion. Not shrinking because someone louder wants the room. Not inflating yourself either. Just standing in what is true without theatrics. And that may be one of the most subversive things you can do in a fake society: remain unperformative while staying powerful. Rule 5. Stop forcing what has its own timing. There is a kind of pain that does not come from losing something. It comes from trying to hurry what is not ready. Trying to rush healing. Rush trust. Rush success. Rush clarity. Rush a person into becoming who they have not yet chosen to become. Rush yourself into a life your character is still trying to catch up with. This pressure is common because the culture praises acceleration. Faster growth. Faster money. Faster visibility. Faster intimacy. faster certainty. If things do not move quickly enough, people assume something is wrong. But much of life does not unfold well under force. Some things expand under patience and distort under pressure. You have probably felt this before. Maybe in a relationship where you knew, deep down, that you were asking for reassurance every day, not because the other person was necessarily withholding something, but because fear had convinced you that if you did not keep tugging, the whole thing would disappear. Or maybe in work, where every quiet week started to feel like failure, so you overreached, overspoke, overcommit, and later regretted the desperation those choices came from. Force is often fear wearing the mask of action. The Stoics teach patience not as passivity but as intelligent restraint. There is timing in life that does not answer to panic. You cannot bully a season into ripeness. You cannot demand clarity from a mind that has not yet sat long enough with itself. You cannot command respect from people who only understand spectacle. And you cannot build a peaceful life with frantic methods. Machiavelli understood timing in another sense as well. He knew action without timing is often wasted. The world is not only about strength. It is about rhythm, opportunity, perception, and knowing when pressure creates progress versus when it reveals insecurity. Stoicism complements that with an inner discipline. Even when you cannot control timing, you can control the quality of your conduct while waiting. That matters because waiting is where many people lose themselves. Not in the crisis, strangely enough, but in the in-between. When there is no final answer yet. When the opportunity is not here yet. When the apology has not come. When the numbers have not changed. When the body has not healed. When the house is still too quiet and the future still too unclear. The in-between exposes your relationship with control. Can you stay decent there? Can you remain deliberate there? Can you keep doing what is right without demanding instant proof that it will pay off? That is a form of strength most people never fully develop. I do not mean waiting passively while life passes you by. I mean continuing the work without poisoning yourself with urgency. Sending the application without tying your worth to one response. Investing in your craft while results are still slow. Loving well without trying to grip another person into certainty. Building the business one honest step at a time instead of panicking every week because the world has not yet mirrored back your vision. When you stop forcing, you often stop interfering with what could have grown naturally. You see more. You listen better. You stop sending signals of scarcity into every room you enter. You become less likely to confuse intensity with alignment. There is also dignity in this. A quiet dignity that adults recognize immediately. The person who is no longer trying to drag life by the throat. The person who still has desire, still has standards, still has direction, but no longer radiates panic. And that is often when things begin to move differently. Not because the universe rewards indifference, but because calm people act better. They choose better. They leave what should be left sooner. They stay where they should stay longer. They create cleaner energy around everything they touch. So let timing teach you rather than insult you. Let waiting refine your character instead of exposing your dependence. Not everything delayed is denied. Sometimes it is being prepared. Sometimes you are. Rule 6. Practice gratitude before receipt. Most people postpone gratitude until after success arrives. After the raise. After the healed relationship. After the move. After the body changes. After the loneliness ends. After the pressure lifts. They make appreciation conditional, and then wonder why life feels emotionally barren while they are still on the way. The Stoics understood something psychologically profound. A person who cannot appreciate life before the outcome often cannot truly enjoy the outcome once it comes. Why? Because the mind trained in lack does not automatically become peaceful when circumstances improve. It simply finds a new thing to hunger for. That pattern is everywhere. Someone finally gets what they wanted, and within days the nervous system starts chasing the next milestone. Someone receives love but cannot relax into it because they spent so long defining themselves through absence. Someone achieves stability yet still feels internally poor because gratitude was never practiced as a discipline, only imagined as a reward. Gratitude is not denial of desire. It is the refusal to become spiritually impoverished while pursuing desire. Seneca often reflected on the fragility of what we already have. Not to depress himself, but to wake himself up. The Stoics used negative visualization for exactly this reason. Imagine for a moment that what you take for granted were suddenly unavailable. Your eyesight. Your familiar routines. The person you assume will be there next month. The ability to walk into your kitchen, breathe deeply, call someone you love, sit safely in your home. How much of your life would be precious if you stopped treating it like background noise? This matters because modern culture thrives on dissatisfaction. It keeps people consuming by keeping them vaguely discontent. It whispers that what you have is not enough, not impressive enough, not visible enough, not optimized enough. And that chronic discontent makes people easier to sell to, easier to provoke, easier to control. A grateful person is harder to manipulate. That is not a small insight. It means gratitude is not just emotional wellness. It is a kind of sovereignty. When you learn to see the value of what is already here, the world loses some of its power to bait you with false urgency. You still want more, but you are no longer humiliating your present in the name of a future improvement. I think this is especially important for adults who have spent years in survival mode. When life has demanded a lot from you, gratitude can sound almost insulting at first. You think, easy for someone else to say. But real gratitude is not pretending your burdens are light. It is noticing that even inside a difficult season, not everything is lost. Not every room is empty. Not every part of you is broken. Not every good thing has already passed. Sometimes gratitude begins very modestly. The fact that you made it through a hard year. The fact that you are wiser now, even if you paid for that wisdom. The fact that you are no longer begging in places that once made you feel small. The fact that your standards are cleaner. The fact that you can finally see your own patterns with more honesty. These are not glamorous victories. But they are real. And when you start seeing them, your energy changes. You stop relating to life only through what is missing. You stop speaking to yourself as if nothing counts until the big breakthrough arrives. Gratitude stabilizes the soul. It reminds you that abundance is not only measured by what you still want. It is also measured by what you are finally able to notice, protect, and respect. So before life gives you more, learn to see what it has already placed in your hands. Not because you are settling. Because a grateful person receives differently. They do not just reach. They recognize. Rule 7. Master your emotional world. There is a difference between having emotions and being ruled by them. The Stoics never asked human beings to become emotionless machines. That is a misunderstanding. What they asked was harder and wiser. Do not let emotion become your unquestioned ruler. This becomes urgent in a world that rewards reaction. Outrage spreads fast. Impulsive speech looks authentic. Emotional exposure is often mistaken for truth. People vent publicly, decide privately from wounded states, and then call the aftermath honesty. But intense feeling is not always clear seeing. Sometimes it is just pain looking for motion. We all know what it is like to be emotionally hijacked. A tone in someone's voice changes and suddenly you are no longer in the present moment, you are in every old wound that taught you to brace. A delay feels personal. A criticism feels absolute. A cold message ruins half your day. One small event enters the system and the mind builds a whole emotional courtroom around it. The Stoic question is not whether you feel that surge. You will. The question is what happens next. Do you obey it immediately? Do you turn it into identity? Do you let it choose your words, your timing, your interpretation? Epictetus insisted that events themselves do not disturb us as much as our judgments about them. That insight is still painfully relevant. Two people can experience the same delay, the same comment, the same obstacle, and live in completely different emotional realities because their interpretations are different. One spirals into humiliation. The other pauses and says, "I need more information before I hand this my piece." That pause is power. And it is a power many adults desperately need, because life does not get simpler. Responsibilities deepen. Relationships become more layered. Work becomes more political. Family dynamics become more tender and more difficult at the same time. If you cannot regulate your emotional world, every challenge becomes heavier than it already is. There is also a social advantage to emotional discipline. In a performative and often manipulative world, people watch for openings. They notice what easily provokes you. They learn where your vanity lives, where your insecurity lives, where your need for reassurance lives. When you are emotionally ungoverned, you become easier to steer. When you are emotionally steady, you become harder to bait. This is not about suppressing pain. Suppression is brittle. Sooner or later it leaks out sideways. Real mastery means you can feel deeply without becoming sloppy. You can be hurt without becoming reckless. You can be angry without becoming stupid. You can be disappointed without turning one bad moment into a story about your entire life. That kind of inner adulthood does not appear overnight. It is built through observation. What triggers me most quickly? What stories do I instantly tell myself under stress? Where do I confuse discomfort with danger? When do I start performing emotion instead of processing it honestly? Sometimes the most stoic thing you can do is sit still for a moment longer than your impulse likes. Not text yet. Not explain yet. Not accuse yet. Not post yet. Not make a final meaning out of a temporary feeling. Because once your emotional world becomes less chaotic, your outer world begins to change too. Your conversations improve. Your timing improves. Your self-respect improves. You stop creating extra suffering through unnecessary reaction. And little by little, you become someone who can carry intensity without spilling it everywhere. That is not coldness. That is maturity with muscle. Rule 8: Become enough within yourself. One of the deepest reasons people chase so hard is that they are trying to solve an internal emptiness with external proof. Proof of worth. Proof of desirability. Proof of intelligence. Proof that they matter. The achievement itself may be real, but underneath it there is often a more private hunger. Maybe if I get this, I will finally feel like enough. That is a dangerous bargain, because the world is unreliable at giving lasting emotional confirmation. It may applaud you for a season and ignore you the next. It may want your results but not your soul. It may admire your image while knowing nothing about the actual cost of your life. If you depend on that world to complete you, you will remain vulnerable no matter how much you accumulate. Stoicism points in another direction. Build a center that does not require constant external feeding. Become someone who can stand in their own company without immediately reaching for distraction, praise, or proof. Not isolated. Not self-enclosed. But inwardly sufficient enough that your relationships, work, and goals are expressions of fullness rather than desperate rescue attempts. This is uncomfortable because many people have never really met themselves without noise. Without a screen. Without a task. Without another person's attention. Without performance. Silence exposes what stimulation hides. It reveals whether you actually respect your own company or only tolerate yourself when something outside you is validating you. And the culture does not help. It monetizes emptiness. It keeps people consuming identities, signals, products, trends, opinions, and attention streams because a person at peace with themselves is harder to sell confusion to. Machiavelli understood dependency as a form of weakness in public life. Stoicism addresses the deeper root, dependency of the soul. To become enough within yourself is not to say, "I need no one and nothing." That is often just wounded pride. It means your value is not endlessly negotiable. It means you do not enter every room starving. It means another person's uncertainty does not become a referendum on your worth. It means success becomes something you pursue from conviction, not from an emergency need to prove you deserve oxygen. For many adults, this work begins after disappointment. After enough situations where you realize external gains did not permanently fix internal instability. After enough praise that still did not quiet your doubt. After enough love offered to you while part of you remained unable to receive it. Pain eventually asks a more honest question: what in me still expects the world to finish a job only I can do? The answer is not self-obsession. It is self-relationship. Learning your own mind. Keeping promises to yourself. Respecting your own limits. Speaking to yourself with less contempt. Creating a life that feels inhabitable from the inside, not just admirable from the outside. And the beautiful side effect is this: when you become less internally hungry, your choices improve. You are less likely to attach to the wrong people. Less likely to sell your values for validation. Less likely to cling to paths that look impressive but feel empty. Less likely to panic when admiration fades. Because now you are not asking the world to create your center. You are bringing your center into the world. That is a different kind of power. Quiet. Stable. Hard to counterfeit. And deeply attractive, not because it begs to be seen, but because it no longer needs to. Rule 9. Stop living for approval. There is a socially acceptable kind of self-betrayal that almost everyone is trained into early. You learn to read rooms before you learn to read your own motives. You learn how to be palatable, useful, non-threatening, impressive, agreeable, strategically charming. You learn how to anticipate reactions and edit yourself accordingly. And after enough years, approval can start to feel like oxygen. The cost is hard to measure at first because approval often comes with rewards. Smoother interactions. Better appearances. Fewer conflicts. More opportunities. People may even call you mature, professional, easy to work with. But if your life is too organized around being approved of, you can slowly lose contact with what is actually true for you. Stoicism asks for a cleaner allegiance. Not to rebellion for its own sake. Not to being difficult. To truth. To virtue. To self-respect that does not rise and fall with applause. This is not easy because approval is deeply seductive. It promises safety. It promises belonging. It promises a kind of emotional shelter from criticism. But approval can also become a subtle prison. It keeps people in jobs they hate, relationships they have outgrown, conversations where they over-explain, social roles that no longer fit, and habits of politeness that are really just fear in formal clothing. Machiavelli knew that public favor is unstable. It can turn quickly. The crowd praises and discards with alarming speed. Stoicism gives a way to survive that reality without becoming cynical. Anchor deeper than applause. Let your conscience matter more than the current mood of the room. You can feel the difference in everyday situations. Someone asks for more than is fair, and instead of saying no cleanly, you negotiate against yourself because you are afraid of disappointing them. You laugh at things you do not respect just to keep the atmosphere smooth. You shrink your intelligence so others stay comfortable. You explain your boundaries like a lawyer arguing for permission to have them. That exhaustion adds up. I think many adults hit a point where approval simply becomes too expensive. They realize they have spent years being understandable while remaining unseen. Years being liked for versions of themselves that were convenient, edited, softened, useful. And eventually something in them says enough. Not in anger necessarily. In clarity. That clarity can sound like this: I do not need every room to agree with me. I do not need every person to read me correctly. I do not need to perform endless accessibility in order to deserve respect. That does not mean you become careless with people. It means you stop bribing them with self-erasure. The Stoics believed the good life could not be built on unstable externals. Approval is one of the most unstable externals of all. Even when you receive it, it does not stay fixed. It has to be maintained, managed, protected. And once your peace depends on it, other people no longer need to control your life directly. Your fear of losing their approval will do the work for them. So practice a more honest life. Speak more plainly. Decline more cleanly. Let silence do some of the explaining. Let people misunderstand you without rushing to amputate the truth to keep them comfortable. Let your life become less performative and more aligned. Because when you stop living for approval, something deeply relieving happens. You get your energy back. And with it, you get back access to a self that was never meant to be managed like a public brand. Rule 10: Trust the timing of life while continuing the work. This final rule is where many of the others come together. It is also one of the hardest to practice when you are tired, when you have been waiting a long time, when you have done what you know how to do and the results still feel delayed. Trusting timing does not mean sitting still and calling it wisdom. It does not mean avoiding effort, excusing fear, or pretending every closed door is magical. It means understanding that your responsibility is to keep your conduct clean, your standards intact, your attention disciplined, and your actions consistent, even when life has not yet delivered the ending you hoped for. That is difficult because uncertainty is one of the heaviest weights a human being can carry. Not knowing when the job will come. Not knowing whether the relationship will heal. Not knowing when the financial pressure will ease. Not knowing whether this long season of invisible effort is building something real or whether you are simply tired. Uncertainty can make people frantic. It can make them bargain with themselves. It can make them abandon principles they respected just a month earlier. The Stoic response is not to eliminate uncertainty. It is to become steadier inside it. Marcus Aurelius returned again and again to the idea of cooperating with nature, with reality, with the unfolding order of things rather than raging against what was not his to command. That is not passive resignation. It is a disciplined refusal to turn uncertainty into panic. It is the decision to keep living well before final answers arrive. There is something deeply mature about this. Because much of adult life is lived before clarity. You parent before you feel fully ready. You rebuild before you feel fully healed. You keep going before you feel fully certain. And if you wait for complete control before you move honorably, you may wait forever. Machiavelli would remind us that fortune is real. Circumstances matter. Timing matters. Events beyond your control can shape outcomes in powerful ways. Stoicism does not deny fortune. It simply protects your soul from becoming its servant. You do what is yours to do, and you refuse to make inner collapse your strategy for handling what is not. This is where trust becomes different from fantasy. Fantasy says, something good will happen because I want it badly enough. Trust says, I will remain faithful to what is mine to practice while life reveals what is mine to receive. Fantasy is fragile. Trust is disciplined. And yes, there will be days when this is hard. Days when you are sick of being patient. Days when someone less honest seems to move ahead. Days when the fake world looks rewarded and your restraint feels invisible. Days when social media makes everyone else's life look immediate while yours still feels painfully in process. On those days, remember this, surfaces are fast. Reality is slower. Performance is loud. Character is quieter. But character outlasts performance. Keep the work going. Keep your word. Keep your attention out of useless comparison. Keep refusing to poison your own mind with desperation. Keep becoming the kind of person who can carry what they ask life to bring. Because sometimes the delay is not punishment. Sometimes the delay is building the version of you that will know what to do with the blessing when it arrives. Sometimes the closed door is protecting you from walking in too soon. Sometimes the silence is training your depth. Sometimes the waiting is teaching you whether you wanted the thing itself or only the emotional rescue you imagined it would provide. Trust the timing of life, then, but do it with your sleeves rolled up. With disciplined effort. With emotional sobriety. With dignity. With your feet still on the ground. So let's gather the thread. First, desire deeply, but do not attach your peace to the outcome. Second, return to the present, because your power does not live in regret or fantasy. Third, turn obstacles into advantage by using hardship as material for strength and clarity. Fourth, reclaim your inner authority so other people's reactions stop governing your nervous system. Fifth, stop forcing what has its own timing, and learn the strength of patient action. Sixth, practice gratitude before receipt so your life is not emotionally postponed until some future milestone. Seventh, master your emotional world instead of letting every feeling become a command. Eighth, become enough within yourself so the world is no longer asked to complete you. Ninth, stop living for approval and recover the energy lost to performance. And 10th, trust the timing of life while continuing the work that is yours to do. If you step back, the deeper message behind all 10 is this: what blocks many people is not lack of desire. It is internal disorder. Too much urgency. Too much dependence. Too much comparison. Too much emotional leakage. Too much loyalty to surfaces in a world built on performance. Stoicism does not promise a perfectly easy life. It offers something more durable than that. It teaches you how to become difficult to destabilize. It teaches you how to move through a manipulative, distracted, approval-driven culture without handing it the keys to your inner world. It teaches you how to stay human without becoming weak, how to stay ambitious without becoming frantic, and how to stay open to life without becoming owned by every outcome. And maybe that is the real manifestation people are searching for, not the fantasy of controlling everything outside them, but the power of no longer being internally controlled by every delay, every reaction, every silence, every shifting appearance of the social world. If this hits something real in you, take a breath and do not rush past that. Ask yourself honestly, which rule exposed me the most? Where am I still chasing from fear? Where have I been performing steadiness while living internally unsettled? And what would change if I stopped asking life to calm me down and started training myself to become calmer inside life as it is? That is where the work begins. Quietly. Personally. Powerfully. If this video gave language to something you have been feeling, let that be the sign to stay with this work a little longer. Like the video if you want more Stoicraft conversations that cut through modern noise and bring ancient wisdom back to real life. Subscribe if you are building a stronger mind, cleaner self-respect, and a life with less inner chaos. And in the comments, tell me this: which of these 10 rules do you need most right now, and which one do you think modern society trains people to ignore the most? Sometimes one honest answer can reveal exactly where your next season of growth begins.